Hey everybody, welcome back to Disappointing Your Demons. My name is Ron and I am a grateful recovering alcoholic. Sorry it has been so long since I made one of these videos. Um, Life has been getting lifey, and also I got a case of dengue fever. Um, you know, freaking Caribbean problems. I can honestly say, though, that it was the sickest that I have ever been. Every joint in my body hurt like it was going to break. Fever was out of control, and I couldn't get out of bed for more than 15 minutes at a time without being absolutely exhausted. So, yeah, it's been a while, but I'm back, and thank you for bearing with me, and thank you for your patience. Um, so today I just wanted to talk a little bit about life in sobriety. And I'm going to read from the big book. I've said before that, I am in AA. I don't advocate for any one particular recovery program. You do whatever works for you. Whatever it takes to get sober and stay sober is what you need to do. But for me personally, Alcoholics Anonymous is the program that works for me. And I just wanted to read a little let's try that again. Excerpt? Yeah, sure. That sounds about right. From the big book. It's on page 21. And just a little brief description of what an alcoholic is, or what they describe as a real alcoholic. And so it's on page 21, but it says, here is the fellow who has been puzzling you, especially in his lack of control. He does absurd, incredible, tragic things while drinking. He is a real Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. He is seldom mildly intoxicated, and he is always more or less insanely drunk. Um, that describes me to a T. Like, I'm not even joking. Like, when people would see me out, they just see most of the time, the drunk, happy me, having a good time. But insanely drunk is literally what I would become, because after a night out, and I would get sometimes fall down drunk in public, and that was a common enough occurrence that people would joke around about it. But then, and even on nights not like that, I would come home and I would continue to drink and drug even after getting home, and that's really where the Mr. Hyde would come out. Um, and it wasn't the people in town, it wasn't my drinking buddies that I would absolutely be an asshole to. It was my wife and my family, and that's where the problems really lie, because you do that to somebody in town, they're not going to be your friend anymore, or they'll forgive you like a few days later because, oh, you were just drunk, ha ha ha. And your loved ones forgive you too, but the emotional harm that you do to your loved ones is absolutely crazy. um, I guess I should also put the disclaimer in there that I am not a medical professional. I'm not a counselor. I don't have a degree in anything. This is not medical advice. Always, always, always seek the opinion of a doctor. I'm not a Scientologist. I'm not a medicalologist. I'm just a mechanic, just a dude who drank too much. Um, but this is just stories of my experience. So take it for what it's worth. I really hope that my words and my stories can help save a life. That's all. But my main point of this video is uh, life in sobriety now, what it's like. Um, and I have one word, and this is what describes life in sobriety best for me: free. I am free. I am no longer a slave to alcohol. I am no longer a slave to drugs. I am no longer controlled or in bondage to alcohol. My mind is clear. My thoughts are always, on doing good for the most part. I'm still the mischievous little punk that I've always been, but That's all it is now. It's just mischievous. It's harmless. I'm not destroying things. I'm not self-destructing. Um, the day that I got sober, and God willing, tomorrow I will have 90 days of continuous sobriety, which is huge for me. I know I said before in my other videos that I did at one point have 7 years, and yes, I did have 7 years, and that was a very long time. But, after this last bender, to get 90 days of continuous sobriety is just unbelievable. And, my life was good when I was sober for 7 years. I had a lot going for me. But even in this 90 days that I have now, my life is literally second to none. I've got a great, caring, loving wife. I've got my children in my life again, well, most of them. I have a grandson, but it's things above and beyond that, though, that are, and might sound a little selfish, and it is selfish, actually. You know what? Fuck it. I'm allowed to be selfish in this because it's my life at stake here. But in sobriety, I've got so many good things going for me. I can actually look at myself in the mirror in the morning and not fucking hate myself and not be absolutely disgusted with the person that's looking back at me. I wake up and I don't feel like death. I don't have to apologize to my wife. And a lot of times I wouldn't even know why I was apologizing. I would just wake up with this feeling of dread, like I did something wrong, which I definitely did most nights, and have to apologize to her. I don't have to do that anymore. I don't have to go to work and make excuses as to why I'm doing such a shitty job or why I'm, not working, maximum capacity, or snapping at my coworkers, or any of the things that I used to do when I would drink. I'm not calling in sick to work anymore, and I'm doing things for myself that I love to do. Like I used to, love to snorkel and scuba dive and do things outdoors, and I stopped doing all that stuff because it got in the way of my drinking. And also when I'm all hungover and trying to fight my hangover by downing, 5 freaking screwdrivers with breakfast, the last thing I'm going to do is want to go and get into the ocean and go snorkeling and bob up and down in the water because I'm immediately going to want to throw up. It's just all the little things like that, just the little miracles, the little gifts. AA promises a life second to none. And what that means is it's not promising you mansions and sports cars and boats and planes and millions of dollars. It's promising you a life free from alcohol, from addiction. It's promising you a life second to none, meaning that you'll have everything that you need. You might not have everything that you want, but then again, who does? I would argue that, even the richest people in the world probably still don't have things that they want. But yeah, for example, I called my mom the other day, and, before, when she would pick up the phone and hear that it was me, you could hear in her voice that I was pretty much the last person that she wanted to hear from. And I have my issues with my mother. Everybody has issues with their mother. But a lot of my issues with my mother were due to behaviors that and decisions that I have made in the past. We don't need to get into that here, really. But now I call her, and she picks up the phone, and she hears that it's me, and she's happy. You can hear, you can hear over the phone when somebody is smiling, and I can tell that my mom is happy to hear from me. And obviously one of the first questions out of her mouth when she's talking to me is, how's the drinking going? And I told her that I was going to have 90 days in a couple days. And the joy that I heard in that woman's voice when I said that, and just how proud of me that she was, and how happy that she was that I wasn't drinking anymore and that I was still sober. I mean, it was one of the best feelings in the world. And another thing that she said was that, you know, your father would be proud of you. Your father would be proud of you. And that was an amazing feeling too, because she never would say stuff like that when I was drinking. and she would know. I'd call up and it'd be 11 o'clock on a Sunday morning and I'd already be freaking hammered. And I'd be slurring and not making a whole lot of sense. And yeah, I don't have to do that today. I don't, and I don't have to make excuses as to why I'm sounding funny or to any number of things. I don't have to lie to my mother and say, oh yeah, my marriage is going great when it's in fucking shambles. Other gifts in sobriety are like something as simple and stupid as I can remember things as much as I am physically able to, because I had a stroke, about 7 or 8 years ago now. That affects my memory. Like my memory is shit as far as transferring short-term memories to long-term memories now. But it's even worse when I drink. That's for sure. So I can remember things, and the good times, the bad times, whatever, it doesn't matter. I'm just happy that I can actually freaking remember them. And, Sunday nights, we have family dinner every Sunday night. That wouldn't be happening if I was still drinking. The last thing that especially on a Sunday night, like if I was even still awake, there's a lot of times that by 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon, I was passed out. But now instead, I have my daughter and her fiance over with my grandson, and we have family dinner. I mean, how great is that? And maybe a lot of people don't get that because that's just normal shit to them. But to an alcoholic like me, that ain't normal shit. That's a gift. It is a freaking gift and a blessing that I am rewarded with just because I don't take a drink. That's it. I don't drink, I get these things. And again, they're not monetary. They're not physical, like items. It's not items. Fuck, I don't care. Take my freaking TV and throw it off the deck. I don't care. But I want my daughter to come over and hang out. I want my wife to be happy with me. I want to protect her. I want to be the best husband I can possibly be to her. She's a good kid. She deserves it. She doesn't deserve the fucking drunken asshole. She doesn't deserve the verbal abuse that I would give her. And now, another gift. She fucking loves me. She feels safe. She feels safe with me. There was a time, even before that, we wouldn't cuddle in bed or anything like that because she didn't feel safe. Now she feels safe with me, and I can fall asleep at night with my arms wrapped around her. How awesome is that? Also, things like respect, dignity, honor, those are all things that people are seeing in me now and know that they're going to get from me now that I'm sober. I'm not lying to their face, telling them some bullshit that they're going to see right through, or having to remember a million different lies to a million different people. I'm honest, honest Injun. Anyway, it's things like that. And, I can walk around now with my head held high. That is all these things are like just so amazing. And again, it's stuff that might be normal to some people, like things that they just take for granted, that That's just normal everyday behavior for what we call normies. But it's not for me. I also heard somebody say to me one time that alcohol brings out the real you because it shuts off all the filters, and what comes out when you're drunk is who you really are. And I disagreed with that. And was talking to my counselor, my therapist about it. And she's like, absolutely not. She goes, alcohol changes your brain chemistry. Alcohol changes your entire body chemistry. It rewires your brain. That's why they call it being under the influence. Um, and it does, because of the way that it affects the brain, the receptors. And I don't know, I'm, again, not a freaking doctor, but something with receptors and synapses, and I don't fucking know. But it does stuff to you, and it makes you do things that you wouldn't normally do, not because it's the real you, because that it's literally rewiring your brain. Um, I don't do those things anymore. You know, I do still like to play practical jokes on my wife, though. That's fun. She's deathly afraid of spiders, and sometimes I take little plastic spiders that look real and I throw them like under the blanket or something. So when she goes to get into bed, there's like a little fucking spider, and she goes, ah, loses her goddamn mind, and it's freaking hilarious. But that stuff that's like normal. That's just husband and wife joking around stuff. It's not me fucking screaming, throwing a coffee mug across the freaking room and belittling her. But yeah, things just keep getting better and better and better every day. And, some of you might not want to hear the whole God thing. I don't freaking care. God is in my life. God does talk to me, and God does provide for me. And I put all of my faith into my higher power. He steers the ship. That's all. He steers the ship. All I do is I don't drink. And he leads me into great, great things. Things that I never thought that I would get back. Things that I never thought would be possible in my life are now coming to fruition. And I love it. And God willing, I will never go back to that animal that I was, to that monster that I was. And I just have to finish this with saying that I absolutely love being sober. It is so much better than the alternative. So that's what I got for today, guys. I'm going to be more diligent with making new content, new subject matter. I'm going to be doing interviews with my friends and family about just what it was like to deal with me as an active alcoholic. And then just other thoughts about sobriety in general. Or, who knows? Maybe I'll do a movie review or something. It'd be awesome. With my Boston accent, reviewing movies. Right. Anyway, that's all I got. Please hit the like and subscribe button if you haven't already. Thank you very much for tuning in, or whatever you call it, on YouTube. And I hope you guys have a great and blessed day.